Erin, before I even get started, I just wanted to say I'm a native Torontonian. So I'm just curious when you're finished rapping, are you gonna miss the city?
You have no idea. I don't know what I'm going to do, honestly, because I'm from New York. So that balanced lifestyle between LA and Toronto keeps me grounded. Because I love LA, but like Toronto, New York, they're real cities, and I love Toronto so much. The
Love it.
food, the food. I'm gonna have to move there. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Well, congratulations to both of you on Catching Dust. Stuart, especially because this is your feature film debut. Very well done. Erin, I'm really curious because some of the garbage that you've had to put up with in the last
Mm,
little while, people kind of giving you advice or seemingly
mm,
wanting to control aspects
mm,
of your life. I
mm,
found your role as Geena kind of
mm.
strangely perfectly timed considering what she has to put up with Clyde. Do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, there's a weird meta nature to a lot of the roles that are going on right now, but I think it's more of a broad commentary on women in general in the industry than myself specifically. And I just find that I started to work when I was 15 and I'm 30 now. And so by 30, most people haven't worked that long. You have to start young. You don't have to, but I decided to. And so I feel like I grew up in an industry and you live and you learn, but it happens to be public. And I've learned that like I want to empower these characters and women and disempower those that are contributing to these narratives or whatever they might be. And so they're not in my psyche, they're not even in the periphery anymore. And I feel like that's how I disempower them and not empower myself, but just try and put more emphasis on what the person is doing as opposed to what the people are saying or doing to them.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, that's kind of a perfect segue because, Stuart, I wanted to ask you, it's a rather poignant study of toxic masculinity, this film, and it really presents itself in a few different ways. But because it's essentially a microcosm of society and gender
Mm.
roles, and with you being an Englishman, I really found it interesting that America seems like a very specific choice to set this film, where the two couples kind of represent East versus West,
Yeah,
North versus South. Was that a specific choice that you made when writing this film?
yeah, absolutely. Exactly that point that you made about that kind of traditional clash between West and East, especially after the colonialism of America.
Mm.
Um, that I felt like a good canvas to put this story on, which is a kind of extension of it and an amplification of it in some way.
Mm.
Erin, you were an only child growing up, right?
Yeah.
And I love some of the social media posts that you've posted because it showed what a great partnership you had with Jai and the rest of this cast. And more importantly, what a great relationship you've had with the cast of the boys as well. So
Mm.
have these productions kind of given you the siblings you might have been missing in your life?
They have, and it's really lovely because I think it's really nice to have people that I consider brothers, and they're not related to me by blood, but there's something so lovely about the inherent connective, very intensively connective experience and intimate experience you have with people on these jobs. And I remember thinking when I was 18, I did a job and then like we dispersed and I was like, oh, but I'm not seeing them as much. And what's going on? We all collectively fell in love. And the truth is that the intensity of that connection is a necessity because we do have very transient lives. But those connections, I think, at the end of the day, are going to be what have like stuck with me the most because it's, of course, the scenes and the characters and the work we've done together, but I just love working with people who I really, really get along well with, and that I would never have met otherwise because it's such an interesting and diverse group of people. And I think it's important to just like in general think about it this way. Do you get dejected when it comes to, certain men doing certain things, and do you start to look at them and I'm like, no, how could I have these amazing people around me, these amazing guys around me. How could I? I've got these brothers, these people and sisters as well, but it's so lovely. And there are stereotypes that are present in this industry, but they're amazing people, and it's been one of the greatest parts of working in it.
Well, I love to hear the fact that you're getting support from friends and family, family within the industry as well.
Except for
Uh,
this guy. pay this guy, but he knows that. That's not secret. No, our cast got along so well. It was like we were all waiting for the shoe to drop. I feel like, and it never did. But we were like, "What the?" It was like
I thought that was normal. You know, they're like, this is not normal, and that kind of it's kind of sad because that's my baseline now that everyone loves each other.
Sorry, we set the bar too high.
Yeah,
but no, it's not. It's so not.
That's kind of depressing.
I know.
Well, a great segue once again, because, Stuart, the intimacy of this project, I think, is great. In a lot of ways, it kind of reminded me of a Tennessee Williams play. It kind of revolves around the world of human frustration and sexuality with an underline of violence. Even if he wasn't a direct influence, I see there's kind of a play-like intimacy with a small cast, very limited locations. Once again, did you purposely want to tell a more intimate story, especially considering this is your feature debut?
Yes, the Tennessee Williams analogy I haven't heard yet, but that's a massive compliment. But yeah, there is. I mean, I think we were utilizing the same elements that can make theatre so powerful and intense, where there's nowhere to escape to. Especially, I think, with this story where you've got the lead character of Geena really trying to understand who she is and her place in the world, but totally disconnected from it. It created this ability to have a real, like a pressure chamber that just develops and develops and develops. And I think it also forces an audience, like it does in theatre, for you to focus on those tiny nuanced details within the character, which are easily, you just skip over them when you're, exactly. When you're going to a billion different locations, a billion different sequences. This forced us to really understand and get under the skin of each character. And I think in that sense, it was the right setting and device to help people connect with them.
Erin, when you're successful and when you're a young actor, as you mentioned you were, sometimes you can become synonymous with a certain character that you've played. And obviously you may or may not come across that as soon as, season 5 wraps. But obviously you played the girl next door beautifully. Annie is a great character. I just rewatched Kings of Summer again for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
Love that movie. Sometimes we see an actor then push themselves in the complete opposite direction. So I'm curious where you see Geena in perhaps the greater scheme of your future career.
I see Geena as the unfortunate necessary example that we can play characters that are not like ourselves, because also that's exemplified in this most recent season of The Boys. And I think I understand it. The unfortunate side is not something that, like, I can even say if I were a casting director, I wouldn't be able to, I would not be immune to that. I don't know if I would be. I'll give you an example, and this is just simply reflective of a lot. When I was in True Detective, I played a goth, right? 2 years of just goth roles offered them. Captain Fantastic, that role was offered to me. They turned her into like a goth-esque role.
Right.
So people need to see it, and then all of a sudden you're categorized as that even. So the point is that, like, I hope that I get to play characters that are not like myself, because I like playing characters and having to find myself in them. And then I go about the world in a better way as a human. And also they're just fun.
Well, congratulations again to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic job. Best of luck with the film.
Thank you so
much.
Hey Real students, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to Real School, click that round Real School logo right beside me. Also click that damn notification bell so you're aware of all of Real School's new content. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link in the description below or the button down there, and you can become part of my Patreon team.